Sorry I'm late.
Oh, you're not late. We start at 3.
3? You told me 2.
I told you 2 so you would be here before 3.
Why'd you do that? Had me rushing and everything? That ain't cool, nephew.
Yeah, I know you thought it was cool when you was gonna come rolling up here 55 minutes late.
What you talking about?
Man, get on in here. Yeah, looking good. I like the fro, man. The fro look good. And thank you for the hands that have prepared this meal.
Yes, we thank them.
And we thank you for allowing us to all come together with love and celebration on this wonderful time and to enjoy this food that you have put in front of us. Amen.
Yes, and I'd like to add that we thank the rain for coming down from the heavens.
Yes, Lord.
And we thank him for that soaketh it into the earth and that feedeth the seeds that was buried deep within the soil. And we like to thank the farmers for cutting down the wheat, grinding up the grain, and making us bread that we can eat. And I want to thank you for the stars that shine bright in the moonlight. And when we get undone and can done all we can do, thank you for this day. Yes, we do. And we want to thank you for all things under the sun. Yeah, we want to thank you. Oh, yes, we do. We want to thank you for this day.
Amen.
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 Let's eat.
The food has been sufficiently blessed.
You think? I knew he was gonna do it. I knew he was gonna do that, though.
Here you go. Pass this to
Let me get that macaroni and cheese down here so before Charles start praying again. I'm gonna win on this all day. I can't wait, boy. Got the yams on here, too.
Say, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to On the Sofa with yours truly, Esther Austin. Now, as you know, I always get the most incredible people to interview, and today I am talking to a gentleman by the name of Cullen Chambers. Cullen Chambers. Welcome, Cullen.
Good afternoon, wherever you are. It's good to see you. I love your smile. And the glasses, of course, too, right?
Yeah, they're funky. I can't find my reading glasses, so these will have to do.
Hey, that works, I'm telling you.
Thank you. Well, Cullen, Andre Pittman kindly, reached out to me some couple of months ago, and I looked you up, and you're an interesting person to say the least. It's taken me a couple of hours to go through your resume, as they say. I would say you're an eclectic individual with many gifts, many talents, and you've utilized all of them, which is fantastic. There's a saying that most people go to the grave with their dreams alive, but you are certainly living the dream, not just the dream, but the dreams down here. So in a nutshell, in a peanut shell or a crab shell, who is Cullen Chambers?
Wow, I always go back to my old pattern. It's like I'm just a little old boy from Lima, Ohio, who wanted to do something that no one told me that I couldn't do, and I went ahead and did it anyway. And when I found out that I wasn't supposed to do it, it had already been done. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to do now, but just keep moving in that same direction.
Excellent. And that really shows itself in your in the history of your career. I mean, just to give individuals an idea of who you are, what you do. You're an actor, you're a director, you're a producer, you're a filmmaker, you're an author, and the list goes on and on. And it was really interesting watching the different clips and show reels that you've got out there, because you've played literally every sort of in every genre of film and TV, but also in terms of character as well. From Weaponized, RoboCop to Home for the Holidays with Cedric the Entertainer.
The old crazy uncle that comes to visit on holidays, right? Yeah.
That's right. And he does a 2-hour prayer over dinner. I'm like, yeah, I so understand that. To the more seriousness of, Weaponized and RoboCop where you're a cop. And so you're able to, I would say, facilitate, but also to dive yourself into these roles and make it your own. So
it helps coming from a very big family.
Okay.
I
So
can tap into different characters from just observing one of my relatives. Like a lot of times my dad and my uncle plays a great part in certain types of projects that I do. And then I have another uncle that's always the kind of like, hey, he plays the other types. And then, there's sometimes every now and then I'll show up, but for the.
okay. And even I think it was a commercial where I saw you being really playful. It was was it a commercial or was it a song?
It was a commercial for I have several running right now, but I think the one you're referring to is a commercial with the little girl.
That's right.
And I'm dancing with my wife. Yeah, my granddaughter dancing with the wife. Yeah, that was all that. Then of course I've just had Dale's new music video that came out. Oh my God, I'm in that video, and also I just did Lush's new video, which is probably that is one of my favorite projects. I mean, I love Adele, but these girls, this song that we were doing, it just makes you feel great.
It does.
I start off every day with playing it. I mean, and even though I'm in it, because it makes you feel upbeat and not a worry in the world kind of thing,
Absolutely. And it was nice when, there was a scene where with the guy, you were sort of vibing with the guy, and then you went for a sprint. I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, that's the Luscious. Yeah, that's I love that one. That's the one I was talking about. That's my daily video that I go to. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. It was so, that's one of the things about certain artists you work with. There's just so much great energy, and those young ladies were amazing. They were amazing.
So what is your motivator, Cullen? What is it that, I mean, other than, great music getting you up in the morning with that baba boom vibe, but what's that spark that keeps you ticking and talking?
Well, I come from excuse me.
You've gone.
There, okay. I come from a very large family. I have 10 brothers and sisters, and I have great parents. They were very impactful in us staying close, because especially as I've gotten older, I hear all the horror stories of other families, and I realized that I thought that we had it tough, but actually when I think about it, we had what a lot of people aspire to, but really don't know it until you have to have someone from the outside going like, that's not a bad thing, that's actually a good thing, so we had to utilize those.
You've gone again.
Now back.
There we go. Right, we'll make this work. Right, so you were saying that you've come from a large family in terms of the characters that you've drawn from.
Yeah, I come from a very large family in today's standards. I have 10 brothers and sisters, and I'm number 7 of 11. So there was always, you had to be giving your very best efforts. Otherwise you would not get the attention that you desired. So you had to excel at everything. And if you were going to be bad, you had to be really bad. And we didn't want to suffer the consequences of that. So even to this day, I call my brothers and sisters, at least I talk to at least a couple every day, but a lot of them I speak to everybody at least once a week.
Excellent.
Even if it's, especially with today, we will text and stuff like that. So a lot of the characters that I pull from is just watching our antics as we were growing up and kind of remembering them. And especially when it comes to my uncles, my father had 5 brothers. So there was a lot of guys with a lot of just sitting around and just listening to them kind of go at it, just cracking jokes and stuff. So I've been very fortunate with that.
Excellent, excellent. And, when did you realize that you were going to go into the entertainment world, Cullen?
I didn't know that even as I was coming up, when I fully decided, it was after I was going to the university, Ohio State University, and I realized that I wasn't going to make a career out of playing professional basketball. So I had to figure out what else is there. And I'd already been taking theater a lot, and I'd always been, because we had such a large family, there was always entertainment. We would have our own talent shows, and we were always involved. Our parents were very involved in our community and our church. And so there was always those particular community and church plays, especially every holiday that came up, Christmas, Easter, there was always some kind of presentation, and we were always volunteered because there were so many of us.
Bit of the Jackson family, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, we tried that too.
And what do you think you took away as a child, which you took into adulthood? Some of the attributes that your parents gave you, because obviously being parents to such a huge family, what is it that you saw in them that you were able to take away that's kept you to this day?
One of the biggest things which is kind of opposite of what we kind of do in the entertainment industry, is that's the humbleness.
Yes.
They were very just humble. I worked with one of the greatest actors that I have had the opportunity to work with just yet Sunday, Morgan Freeman. I just did a piece with him.
And you look like actually, as well. Like I was trying to hold it back.
He's one of the few people who he's one of the few people that I will photo double for or stand in for, other than appearing on camera myself. And it was just, he was one of the guys that I've kind of been chasing, because he had just a regular actor's kind of initiation to the business. We were talking years ago about how he started off on a children's workshop program called The Electric Company, and how he had worked for all those particular episodes for just basically very little money, and that it helped him to hone his craft. And that's even like for me today, I'll do whatever comes down the pipe, just so that I stay engaged and stay in the game and stay engaged. Sometimes it can be with dialogue, or sometimes it's not with dialogue, but I just want to stay engaged, because people like him and another friend of mine has said, just do whatever comes, because you never know which one hits. And that's kind of one of the things that I have tried to stay true to, is just whatever comes up. I've even gotten around the money issue a lot of times, where it's like, well, it's not a lot of money. My manager was like, well, I like the project, and so I would go ahead and do the project as well.
Yeah, and that's about being open as well, isn't it? That's flexibility. That's open, but also there's always something to learn, because I operate like that as well. I said I can do no star, I can do 5-star, because there's always something to learn, and you just never know. It's all about when you're being placed in those places, you never know who's going to show up for you, who's going to see you. So there's always some sort of blessing there, and that is the key.
And it keeps you grounded. Because I have had an incident. There's a new rendition of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yes.
And so I had a part. It was a small part. They say no small parts, but I had been doing 20 and 25 pages of dialogue a day on certain films that I had done, or 8 to 10 on other films. And in this particular piece, it was like one line. You got to understand, one line. And all the other shots that we were doing, they were great. When it turned around to do the close up on myself, I had, and it took me about 3 takes to get it. And it was like, thank God the director was very kind, because they actually were able to go ahead and save it. But all the other cuts were fine. But it was to the point that day, when you start to take things for, I don't want to say granted, but when you start to minimize what I was doing as an artist or as an actor, it showed up in the time that I least desired. But it helped me to get committed to always knowing that there are no small parts. One line is just as big as 25 pages. And that was a really great wake-up call for me, because it had been almost 8 years since I'd had that kind of so I learned so much from that, and I beat myself. Well, I even considered not acting anymore for a second.
Oh wow!
And then of course, then my sisters and brothers were saying, "Come on, don't beat yourself up," and that kind of stuff. So they were very supportive. That's one of the things. Even as of today, I look for them to give me the additional support, because they will keep me honest, and they will keep me humble as well, because they will shoot it to me straight.
Yeah.
And they will shoot it to me, sometimes embarrassingly so. But don't you know who I am? Yes, you're my brother.
Excellent.
Especially my baby sister. Yeah.
Yeah, she coming at you fierce, man. She's coming at you fierce.
Puts me in her bullseye. It's really fun though. I love her so much for that because it really has helped me. That whole time helped me because like I said, I'd really considered, and I had to really get to the point where it's like the art is what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
The fame is not so much, even though I want the attention because it helps with the compensations that you receive, because the more notoriety you have, the greater your salary can go up. But not so much that as much as the respect that you get from your peers probably ranks the highest to me.
Yes. Yeah. And also when you're getting that respect from your peers also, you know, we are all heroes or sheroes to different people around us. And when people can look up at us because of who we are, because of how we carry ourselves, that in itself is the pot of gold on, you know, as you climb the ladder. So and I find it really interesting that you play so many different characters, and I feel that probably that groundedness that you get from your family helps you to expand. So it means that you're not in a box. They're helping you to expand probably without you realizing it.
I actually do realize it, and I have my brother David. He's the closest. He's the one who has done acting, but he also now went into giving presentations. So he understands the public forum more than anybody else. Not more than anybody else, but as far as my closer brother. And so he would always be very critical in his critiques, not to deflate me, but to help me to understand there's another way to play it. What is your thought? What was you thinking? Were you really there, or were you really where were you needed to be when you were having that expression of conversation? So he was always, you know, and even yesterday I was talking to him, he mentioned something that I kind of didn't like to hear, but he shared it to me honestly. And I know he has great love for me, and I heard it and I accepted it, and I was able to utilize it. So it worked out very good. And that's one of the things that I know. They will always speak with me honestly, and as well as a lot of my other peers as well. So I'll say that as well.
Excellent. So let's just dip into some of the roles that you have played, Cullen. You know, from Weaponized, like I said, RoboCop, and also you've been a background actor in Star Trek. So I've got to look at my notes because there was so much to you. I'm like, this is going to be a thesis.
Yeah, most recently, I did one of the last Bruce Willis films called American Siege, and I co-starred in that with him and Timothy Murphy and Robert Gould and Ann Hindman, and a good friend of mine. He also brought me on the project, Johnny Messner, because we had worked on Weaponized together, and we always stayed in touch. Because that's one of the other things. It's sort of like a fraternity or a I don't want to say fraternity because that means male, a fraternity sorority. What do you say? But I want to include all my other thespians as well as both male and females. And one of the things that when you work with someone good, you can't wait to work with them again. And that was one of the things that we had always talked about. Man, I can't wait for the opportunity. And we've had this opportunity, and he just called me up and just said, "Hey, I want you to come to Atlanta. We're shooting this thing." I said, "Well, things are going pretty good." He said, "Yeah, great, even going better. Get on the plane, come down there." So I'm within 3 days, I was on my way down there to Atlanta to work on this film with him, which actually, like I said, turned out to be one of Bruce's, hopefully not one of his last films, but it is one of the ones that he had just done before he retired. So for me, that was very special because I had known and worked with Bruce almost 40 plus years ago on one of his first shows, Moonlighting, and then on 2 additional Die Hard movies. So it was, you know, it was actually really wonderful to do that.
And you know, it's nice just watching you talk about what you do. You come alive. You still have that. I mean, I can say you still have that fire. You know, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I can see that fire in you. I can see, and there's also a youthfulness that you exude because you enjoy what you do. I mean, what is this? I mean, and this is a rather generic question, but what are some of the other things that you enjoy about being an actor? And then I can ask you from the other side about being a producer and being a director.
Well, one of the things that I really enjoy about being an actor is that when I get a chance to talk to people who have actually seen it or are familiar with my talents, and then I'm there with them and I get to be just there with them. I'm not some iconic person. I'm just a guy who does this instead of, especially where I'm from. It's basically a blue collar, which is an industrious people putting things together, car factories, and other. My father worked in the automobile industry beside having his own business, but he worked in the automobile industry. So there's a lot of blue collar, what we say, hardworking people. And so when I get the chance to be with them, I just let them know how much I appreciate just being able to hang out and just be Cullen, and not some other person that they have this idea of me, but it's like I'm just a guy who grew, or I'm just Mary or Carol's or Arthur's brother, so that's kind of what makes, and that helps me so much. It really does. I even now, as I'm getting ready to go back to visit with them, it helps me to stay grounded, because in Hollywood, it can really get away from you if you allow it, or if you're not fully vested in who you are being as a person.
Yes. I've seen that many times.
Yeah. And I'm too old to be impressed now.
Well, yeah, and you got your family that's going to keep you grounded anyway, so you really can't
Yeah.
get away from that. And it's interesting because you've done, body doubles for some of the roles, I would say, great actors, or great black male
Yes.
actors.
I was told that I have the record for most Academy, standing in and photo double for the most Academy Award winners. We go from Gossett Jr., Sidney Poitier, who we just lost recently, which was probably very hard. Was very hard because he was probably, well, for any black actor, he was the iconic black actor for so many years. Him and Sammy Davis Jr., of course, and James Earl Jones, who I've also stood in and photo double for. Samuel Jackson, who, 3 movies with him, it's been great. And then even on Denzel Washington back in his days when he worked on television, on a television hospital drama called St. Elsewhere. So I've done it for, anybody that was over 6 feet, I've basically done photo doubling and standing for over the years. So
excellent. And what are you up to now? You said you've just finished
I just finished Commercial Sunday with Morgan Freeman, Mr. Morgan Freeman, and another famous football player. I don't know how much I'm able to not say, but it's going to be. I'm not. How they kind of kept us to certain, but commercials are sort of different, I think. But it's one of those things where it's for a major sports product line. I'll say that, and it's not Nike. I can say that much.
Okay, I'll have to go to Siri. Siri? And what is, Morgan Freeman, just give us a bit about what is he like? Because, a lot of these actors that you've done, the body doubles.
He is one of the, I'm not in awe with too many people, because he reminds me like one of my older brothers or an uncle.
Yes.
And I have great reverence for him, because I've been on set with him. I've seen his career happen over the last 42 years. When we were on the set the other day, I was, recalling to him that I go back with you a long way, photo double, because for the last 12, maybe 13, 14 years, I hadn't been doing much with him as his doubler, because I've been doing a lot of my own acting. And last year I got called to, year before last, I got called to do he did a series called Solos, which was on Amazon Prime with Helen Mirren. There was stories that they were telling. And so that's been like a little bit, almost going a year and a half ago now. And so I was telling him, it's like, hey, we just did this thing, a little while ago. And, I go back to, 1980 with you. And he goes, Brubaker, an Attico, go, yeah. It's like, I think sometimes they get jealous of the hair. Shut up. Because that's the first thing most of them say. Man, what a hair. And it's really kind of out here. I have to pack it down to look good on camera, because it wouldn't fit in the camera thing. No. But he comes on the set. He's such professional. Mm-hmm. He comes on the set and he understands the who he is. And he utilizes his great humor and his humility to kind of break the ice. And he's cracking jokes, kind of putting everybody at ease. And he's just kind of telling little stories that kind of, fill in the blanks so that people don't get too so they can get the work done.
Yeah.
So he's very calm, very, very, very professional. He has an aura, of course. He has a presence, and he has the Morgan Freeman voice. What else do you need? I mean, he can get there and read the phone book. I mean, one of the things, do you want me to read it, or do you want me to read it? It was like, yeah, like that. I mean, and it's just his regular voice. I just come from London, as I was saying, doing a commercial over there, or a long, what do you call it, an extended commercial over there. And part of the thing was to kind of emulate him to some degree. And it's like, I can only go so far because his voice is so, I can get down to the pacing and that, but his voice has this deep resonance it can be hard on a poor young man like me. So.
Aww. And outside of, acting and directing and producing and doing filmmaking, you're also an author as well. And
I have I've written many books, but 22 of them have been in the entertainment industry. And one of the things that I'm doing right now is I have a publishing company that we go out and we do publishing or books for other people, and that's our legacy projects for a lot of people, who just regular people who would want to capture their family or friends life story that everybody kind of wish they could write a book. And I'm so glad because that is one of the things that have really, I know how to help people doing that. I can help a person write a book, and I can actually do it in a day, but I don't really try that out because that's a full day. But in a week, I can turn out a book for most people. And it's basically a practical book where we just want to know the real, interview type questions that you would have for someone such as this. But then we take them and turn them into a legacy book for the family, so that stories that the person and their families never knew about, they may know about. That's one level of ours. And then we also do a series of how-to books for people who are interested in doing like catering, event planning, or growing your own garden, things of that nature that are local. In other words, certain regions have certain things, and our books in our entertainment industry teach people how to get started from right where they are. And if they're stuck, how to get a jump start on reviving it and putting yourself back out there in a very more interesting light. So that's one of the things that we like to do as well.
Excellent. And we've only got a few minutes left of this.
Oh, this has been so.
Don't worry, there's going to be a part 2, because, like I said, your resume looks like a thesis. So, for your journey, your experience, your eclectic experience, and all the things that you've tried, and all, for who you are, who you've showed up to be for others as well, to look up to following footsteps. What piece of advice, I know it's going to be hard, but what single piece of advice could you give to anyone who, is sitting on the sideline, and there's so many things that they want to fulfill, but they're sitting on the sideline? What piece of advice could you give them, Cullen?
Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on that, period. There are certain things that we know that if you have a real true passion for it, you can do. Like I know that I'm never going to be a professional basketball player, so there's some reality to that as well. Yeah. But I know that one of the things that I even hear from my friends as I go back to visit from time to time, it's like, man, you just stay with it. And I go, winners win until they win. And that's kind of what I say. You just keep doing what you do. And someone asked me, well, when did you consider yourself successful? And I'm going, I didn't know that I wasn't, because I didn't know what denoted success. You see what I'm saying? I know that as long as I was in the game, and long as I got up and gave my best, I was being the best that I could at any time. So the better part of me was going to show up. I just believe that. Excuse me.
And there's just one other quick question as well. When you've been feeling down, when the chips have been down, what do you do to pick yourself up?
Pray. I pray, and the other thing that really always gets me is that I begin to count my blessings.
Yes.
And that goes from as simple as that I can see, wow, because I was always kind of taught the more that you give, the more that it'll be given, you know, the more that it'll be given to you. And so I also know that when it's going really rough, it's temporary, and that it's not that I'm a failure, because failure is just an event. It's not who I am. So I take the responsibility of, did I do everything that I could have done to have gotten the results that I was looking for? And most of the time I end up beating myself up because, you know, I could have studied it longer, or I could have, waited, or I try to make it so that it's something that I have done so I can fix it, because luck, I can't fix luck. Luck is just luck. So I can improve my performances and the skill sets that I have, but I can never repeat luck like that. I think that I'm very lucky. I think that I'm very lucky, but I think I'm also more prepared and willing to accept what it is that is, without beating myself up thinking that I can't do better. Because one of the things I always remember my father said is just, he'd always say that, I don't know, I'll give it a try. And that's kind of what, I guess I have courage when it comes to that, because I'm not afraid to give it a try, or or to be made to look bad. If I learn something from it, you know, and
that is key, learning from it.
Yeah. Because I was telling my son the other day, he was talking about, he turned 27 and he thinks he's old.
I know, they all do. They all do. I've got 4 minutes. We can have this conversation. They all do. I mean, my daughter-in-law, I think she's maybe early 30s, and sometimes you speak to them and they're like, we should have had this. I'm like, you've got the whole of your life.
And you've lived my life for the most part. The life that you lived up until you were 20, till you're 18 in my house, that was my life. I let you live there. Yeah. Now that you're out on your own, you go like, this is what, you had it made. That's why I said, that's why education was important, impressed upon you. Get the education so that you have the economic ability to sustain this lifestyle that I've given you. But, I've learned that they have to hit it hard sometimes. That's another topic.
That's why I said
that was so tough for me. That was really tough to let them bounce and kind of hit it. I always tried to slip a little rubber mat underneath so it wouldn't be too hard. But sometimes you let them land on concrete so they'll really feel it, because otherwise they won't get the true lesson that it is that there's consequences to every action that you take. Good, bad, and indifferent. Yeah,
absolutely. And sometimes it's also about knowing that there are tools and techniques and things around you that can help you get up. But if you keep putting that mat underneath, they won't see what they need to reach out to get to where they need to get to. But like you said, that's for part 2. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say a huge thank you to Cullen Chambers.
Thank you,
actor,
Esther. I appreciate you.
Producer, filmmaker, orator, so many different things. And as I said, I will definitely be doing a part 2 with you. Thank you, and wishing you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a blessing. Thank you.
I enjoyed you.
Thank you.
I wouldn't go there, Sheriff.
What happened to Bridget Baker?
The sheriff is here.
I thought you were in the big house.
Got out a few hours ago.
You want to negotiate, kid?
You know exactly who to ask to get what we want.
Let's go see your daddy. My daddy don't like surprises. I understand. What's wrong? It's Dr. Keats. Can you clean this up? What in God's name possessed him to do this?
Bridget was everything to me. The last time she was seen, she was coming here to Dr. Keats' house. So here's what's what. Solve the disappearance of Bridget Baker.
Or
I start sending out John Keats piece by piece till you got them all.
Dr. Keats means a great deal to this town.
Kyle's inside now.
What? You sent my only son in there to deal with them. We don't have time for games. Get in there. Kill my son. Kill the rest.
A bloodbath won't do anything.
You hurt my boy, and I'll rain holy violence down upon you. My family, they built this town.
I'm the sheriff of this county.
Don't forget who put you there.
We're doing the Lord's work here.